driven by them.
And immediately we go in car with Riccardo Patrese. John.
Riccardo's just coming through the corner onto the pit straight, and just look how quickly his hand's plucking off those gears all the way down this straight. Heavy braking now here into a very, very tight right-hand corner all the way down to second gear. This is a very slow part of the circuit into third gear, and now we're entering the fastest part of the circuit, the long back straight. A couple of cars in his vision getting past them without any trouble. At this part of the circuit, the cars are accelerating up to 195 miles an hour, and this corner is taken flat out. How many of you have been around a corner at 195 miles an hour? Down into fifth gear for this double right-hand corner, pulling the car sliding around into the slow S's, back into fourth, and hard in the power, touching the curb, back up through the gearbox. On the way back now to the pits into this long left-hand corner. This circuit is a sequence of long lefts and rights, back into second gear, onto the pit straight, on the power, accelerating across the line now.
Yes, and that's his qualifying lap.
Well, here last year, remember, there were times last year when they couldn't qualify either. The big unknown, of course, that Pirelli qualifying tyres for the last year have been recognised as being extremely good, but their race tyres have been a bit suspect. Well, from Releasy today and these other Pirelli shop people, they're not the least bit suspect now.
Terry Boutsen, you saw him rip away the tearaway shield on his visor, and when the sparks flew, you saw why he wears it. Those little titanium sparks will burn right into the helmets of these drivers as the cars bounce up and down on their suspension along these very rough Phoenix streets. Let's listen to the sound of this Renault engine as Terry Boutsen takes us around.
Driver's eye view there, those sparks coming off the car in front of him. Thierry there going from sixth back to the gear he wants, which is probably second in that case, missing out all the intermediates.
The wheel spin there, you heard the engine scream. Pit entrance on the left.
Ooh, close to that apex there. Once again.
Then hard on the brakes down to the chicane. Listen to the engine noise. looks easy, doesn't it?
Ricardo Patrese led 53 laps of this race last year before he had a punctured radiator and the engine finally let go. A terrible disappointment for him, but right now Williams is looking extra good here today in Hungary. Terry Boutsen runs on the point, followed by this man, Ricardo Patrese, in third.
This is that very fast right-hander. Now we start to go uphill in sixth gear. Looks like he's quick down to fifth with this very fast left-hand flick. Then back to fourth, this long right-hander. A lot of these corners have horrible adverse camber. As they come into the chicane, it's obviously extremely slippery, and even that one just falls up a little bit on the entry. Then those corners, they go up to third. This one's the slowest one, the left-hander. Then this one's a bit quicker, this right-hander. They start to pick up here and go up to fifth, fourth, fifth. Very fast left-hand sweep. Stay in fifth round this right-hander. Down to third for this one. He goes up to fourth. Back down to second here, I believe.
Now we also have cameras on board the Ferraris, and we'll get to them just a little bit later.
Start und Ziel. Rechtsknick und dann 90 Grad links, harte Bremsmanöver. Und es geht gleich in die Senna-Kurve, die ja damals noch nicht Senna-Kurve hieß, weil der fuhr ja selbst noch. Herausbeschleunigen, leichte Rechtsbiegung und dann die Stelle, an der Heinz Harald Frentzen ja Jahre später dann fürchterlichen Abflug haben sollte. Das schnelle S, das voll geht, wenn es optimal passt. Terry Boutsen fährt übrigens Williams in diesem Rennen. Dann wieder das Herausbeschleunigen, immer ausbrechendes Heck hier. Unter der Brücke durch, auf den Bodenwellen bremsen für die nächste Schikane. Da macht ein Benetton brav Platz. Und wieder beschleunigen und wir kommen zur Haarnadel. Die berühmte Haarnadel, wo die ganzen Überholmanöver immer stattfinden. Ausbremsmanöver, Kollisionen, alles gibt's hier. Wieder herausbeschleunigen. Blaue Flagge links war er kurz zu sehen. Und jetzt kommt noch das schnelle S. Das ist ja heute weg. Das war eine Mutstelle und sollte dann im Rennen natürlich mit nasser Fahrbahn noch viel, viel gefährlicher werden. Und wir sind zurück bei Start und Ziel.
Terry Boutsen, der Vorjahressieger, trägt auch im Rennen mit. Ricardo Patrese, Marc.
Ja, das ist die Lasurs Haarnadel. Erster Gang. Je nach Übersetzung vielleicht auch zweiter. Dann hinunter zu Eau Rouge, die alte Boxenanlage auf der rechten Seite. Eau Rouge. Mit Gas wegnehmen. Im fünften Gang. Da hat sie sogar im sechsten gefahren. Und jetzt Höchstgeschwindigkeit anbremsen für Le Conf. Die Schikane sind eigentlich 3 Kurven. Dann kurz hochbeschleunigen, hinunter zur Revanche. Eine bergab 180 Grad Kurve. Dann 90 Grad links, so mit ein bisschen Lupfen. Eine Gerade hinunter zur Doppellinks. Huon heißt diese Stelle. Ausgang geht voll und jetzt eine Kombination aus 3 Kurven, rechts, links und dann gleich Stavelot, die erste Rechtskurve. Und der zweite Teil hier heraus geht fast voll und ganz wichtig hier den Schwung mitzunehmen. Und wir kommen hier, das sehen Sie an der Mittellinie, auf die öffentliche Straße. Das Fahrzeug vor ihm macht Platz. Und jetzt voll. Oh, da war er ein bisschen weit rechts und trotzdem ist er drauf geblieben. Und der Busstopp mit diesen ekelhaften Randsteinen. Herausbeschleunigen und wir sind zurück bei Start und Ziel.
Eine der letzten Mutstrecken und Herausforderungen.
Other cars have and are supposed to be superior on power. There's a Renault V10 in this car for Nigel Mansell. In fact, Renault brought out their newest engine to try in qualifying here. It's a little bit of a different configuration, taking away some weight, getting a few more revs wherever they can, using all of the bizarre and wonderful technology of Formula One to get up close to 14,000 revolutions. Of course, one of the tricks on the Renault engine was that pneumatic, an air-driven valve train system that is now on the Honda V12 just behind Gerhard Berger and Ayrton Senna.
And also the V8 in the Schumacher and Martin Brundle cars, although it's not doing much good for Martin Brundle just at the moment, as we've already seen him out of the race. There you see Nigel going around turn 4, long right-hander.
Let's listen now and see if we can hear whether the car is losing traction anywhere.
Going very low in the revs, listen. And that is low revving.
Being very careful under braking and downshifting as well.
This is that word corner. You can see it's quite a steep rise out of there. Normally this is a very fast right-hand flick, as are this right and left-hander here.
This is downhill, long left-hander now.
He would probably normally change up at least twice between the chicane and that left hand, and he stayed in the same gear, as he's doing now. You can see him really working that steering wheel. It's very slippery.
And here comes a very sharp, fast right-hander.
Normally this corner here is almost flat out, this one, and here how he's backed off, and he's a couple of gears under what he would normally be.
Nigel Mansell and the domination of this Williams-Renault team had been the subject of this season in Formula One thus far. We asked Nigel to explain to us the domination of his team and whether there is anything that can be done to bring Grand Prix cars closer together. Down onto the start-finish straightaway and up through the gearbox.
Still lapping in about 1 minute 44, 1 minute 45 seconds. A cool 25 seconds slower than qualifying.
Let's listen. Keep in mind, the driver can't see much better than you can before the film changes on the onboard camera there.
Going through these long corners, downhill now. This is where we saw him swoop by Fittipaldi a couple of laps ago.
In case you're wondering about the Canadian Grand Prix a year ago, where Nigel let the revs get too low and the engine died on him, the engineers for the Williams team say they have solved that problem and he can run comfortably at low revs now.
The last thing you want to do is change down and get more revs, because that just gives you too much oomph on pickup, and you need to hear, you can hear how he lets the engine drop. Ooh, gives it a bit of a tweak there. Get back in line, you. Going wide, see around the outside here, back on the non-slippery bit, has to take the apex there.
Slippery right there. Amazing how just the slightest little twist of
Lara Ferrari. Ooh, there you can see the efficacy of those tail lights that these cars have to have. But the spray is so bad that even, ooh, where has he gone to? Lost track of him. There he is.
Where's he gone? Where's the road gone?
Exactly. Racing in the rain is no joke.
Ook de baan nog moet leren kennen. Hier dan tussentijd, Senna 46,7. En dan komt heel iets wat in de buurt nu. Maar u ziet het klokje, staat toch weer wat lager. 2 kilometer dus lager. 294 km per uur. Bij die tussentijdse meting. Heet weer dus rond het circuit. De tijden 1:13.826. Een derde tijd voor Damon Hill. Je ziet het hier. 10 ronden gereden nu en vindt de aansluiting nu met Alain Prost. Kan het dan toch nog in die allerlaatste ronde. 200ste van een seconde is het verschil tussen de professeur en de leerling. Hill geeft alles. Met Alan Jones rechte stuk op. Genoemd naar de oud-wereldkampioen, de Australiër. En het Jack Brabham Straight, illustere namen natuurlijk hier in Australië. Dat zijn de echte helden. De enige Australiërs die eigenlijk Grand Prix wonnen. En ook de legendarische Kiwi kwam hier een beetje uit de buurt. Meneer Bruce McLaren hemzelf.
Damon Hill, we're now on board with Damon Hill, and this is his first flying lap, and there's a slower car in front of him, but that's just come out of the pits, he's made room. And Hill now going up to the gearbox, accelerating through the crater curves as he gets onto the brakes coming up over the brow here, down from about 180 miles an hour he would have reached there, through the old hairpin. Now this is all flat out, this section. But getting up to about 175, onto the brakes now, turning right into McLean's corner, powering it out, up the hill. Now the entry to this corner is completely blind, Coppice. You don't see the apex of the corner till you turn in. And that's fifth gear, Hill, down to second gear for the S's. Up to the gearbox, back onto the brakes, the Melbourne hairpin, second gear. This is a slow bit of the circuit, and away at full power. Now the end of the lap. Damon Hill now has the good markings and the start-finish line over the line.
Grand Prix序盤の4位争いです。ベルガー、シューマッハ、ヒル。これはヒルの車載からです。ここではヒルのウィリアムズのギアレシオに注目してみましょう。さあ S 字に入りましたけれど、ヒル4速ホールドです。そして逆盤から旧ダンロップブリッジのところ、ここで5速に入りまして、そしてデグナーの手前で6速、デグナーの1つ目は4速、2つ目は3速です。さあヘアピンまでには5速に上がるわけですけれど、この進入見てください。ヒル予選でもクラッシュしましたが、この進入あまりうまくないようです。さあスプーンに向かいますが、6速まで入ります。そしてスプーンの1つ目4速まで落とし、2つ目の間で3速、ここからバックストレッチに向かっては6速までフル加速です。さあここは6速ホールドのまま130ヤード通過。そして試験員は2速で追加です。
across the line to complete his first time lap, 1:27.935. Now, if you look back to 1994, pole position set by Jean Alesi was a 1:23.844 with a circuit that was quicker with 3.5-litre engines. I would anticipate something between 2.5 to 3 seconds slower than that would be where pole ought to be by the time Saturday qualifying is finished. But Coulthard suddenly the first man to break that 1:30 barrier here today with a 1:27.935.
Michael Schumacher watches on from the Benetton pit as Coulthard further improves on the split time, at least the first split. Coulthard a much better performance in the race from Spa than we'd seen in the previous races. Coulthard was actually pulling away up front, remember, until he retired with gearbox problems. And he's out to try and make up for that disappointment here at Monza this weekend. Last year here at Monza he suffered disappointment when he ran out of fuel on the final lap when he was running in second place to Damon Hill. But you can see he's attacking these chicanes. They have to use the curbs a little bit, but try not to use them too much, which then sets them way offline.
And the exit of that final chicane, very important because it determines your top speed as you approach the Parabolica. But this, the most critical corner now at Monza, you've got to get the car in, you've got to get position absolutely perfect because it's such a long corner. If you don't get it perfect at the beginning, you'll be wrong all the way through. 1:27.020, and that will not last very long because I'm sure, should Coulthard care to continue, he will improve yet again. And remember, we have still not seen either Ferrari, Damon Hill, Michael Schumacher, et from the young Scot saying, sorry chum, I'm here to get pole position. You can make your own way, but I'm going to take the line. And that's the way life is when you're in a top team.
This is the last lap for Coulthard. He's done 11, so in fact he's got to come in at the end of this lap. So I hope he bears that in mind, because there's not much point in charging around here, because he's not going to be able to improve on his pole time so far.
Well, I think Coulthard will go ahead and finish this lap because, in fact, where the start-finish line is ahead of where the Williams pits are. So he should be able to complete 12 laps and come back into the pits and not cross start-finish line for a final time. Just, it depends. Some racetracks have got the start-finish line before the pits. Others have got it after the pits. Monza is one of those where the start-finish line is after the pits. So Coulthard can complete his final and 12th lap, and he will look for further advantage. Currently, it's 0.807 of a second from Jean Alesi and 0.815 of a second from teammate Damon Hill.
Fabulous performance so far from Coulthard, and Alesi's only got 1 lap left. Damon Hill's only got 2 laps left, so it's looking good for the Scot, and this really is a tremendous performance and exactly what he needs at the moment, while his name is being mentioned all over the place in the driver market.
And a good exit onto this final or second straight is Michael Schumacher. He's suddenly up onto the front row of the grid. 0.582 slower than David Coulthard, but can Coulthard improve, or will his time remain at 1:25.516, 25.964? So that final lap of David Coulthard, slower than his previous best.
And the tight, twisty racetracks like Monaco. The ironic thing is they're using the short wheelbase car this weekend. And when we asked Mika Hakkinen about it, he said, we're using it because it's faster.
This is a bit of a hybrid, I think. I think there's a few different components on it from both different chassis, but whatever it is, it's working. And as we said before, actually split the time for the top 2 Williams cars. So the confidence in McLaren is certainly up at the moment. And you can see he's actually pulled away a bit down in that last section past the pits.
Meanwhile, chins are on the floor of the garage at Ferrari. Michael Schumacher has made it back to the pits. Already in the garage when Eddie Irvine came by the start-finish line, completely enveloped in smoke. Boys, they're going to be a firing squad for the team to face when they get back to Italy. Let's take another look at what happened to Eddie Irvine.
The pace these fellas are going.
Martin Brundle in 7th, David Coulthard back in 8th. The Scotsman having trouble with the McLaren once again. Mika Hakkinen seems to be okay with it.
This is through the Abbey, this is through Club as they come through Club. A bit of adverse cam here. It's quite a strange corner, this one. And then it leads up, of course, to the new Abbey complex. This is where they're braking from 168 miles an hour down into second gear for this corner through here. Up here and then down and under the bridge, through Bridge Corner. And we normally used to go, but boy, they're really lucky. Nobody went in the sand.
At least not very far.
Hear that going right the way down through the box to second gear. Of course, he's using the automatic parts. All he does is he presses the switch and it automatically goes from 6th gear down to 3rd if that's what he wants. It's already pre-tuned in there. There's a button on the left side of the wheel. He can just press it to automatically select the gear he wants in certain places.
See him sliding around a bit. Track has been slippery throughout the week.
Well, in reality, nobody has done more than
with Williams and then left the sport.
Yeah, Frank Williams said he's seen lots of press cuttings which had found their way into his waste bin, but he'll be talking to Damon fairly shortly. When Schumacher was asked about Hill's demand for 12 million, Schumacher said, "You mean 12 million lira," which is of course about £50,000. I think it was very light-hearted. What was it? Yeah, Friday lunchtime in the pits, and he was very complimentary about the Bridgestone tyres. He said it was, you know, a good way to go, and they were learning a lot from it, but still a long way to go.
Meanwhile, Goodyear has been signing up as many of the top teams as possible. We know they have a deal with Williams and Ferrari. We understand one is going to be in place very shortly with McLaren and Sauber. The idea being to leave Bridgestone to the smaller teams, make their development that much more difficult. We'll be back in a moment. Just past.
Whoa, look at that. He really locked up brakes. That was almost like something broke or something let him down in the braking area. But, I mean, he just crossed it up as he came down in there.
Deuxième temps à l'instant pour Mika Häkkinen qui lui aussi vient de passer sous la barre des 1,19. Deuxième temps pour Mika Häkkinen, derrière donc Heinz Alfredson que nous avons en ce moment avec lui avec la caméra embarquée.
Frenzen vient de prendre le meilleur temps, comme vous pouvez le constater. Sur kiosque 8, Jacques Villeneuve assiste à la scène sur les écrans.
classique en arrière du cockpit. Villeneuve est sorti très large sur le vibreur à la sortie de la chicane de l'entrée de la ligne droite des stands.
Interview de Niki Lauda sur kiosque 8.